Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and in this episode, we're taking a look at some more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figures, one of my favorite lines of all time, and in the last few years, they have come to us from many different sources. NECA is making figures, Playmates is making new figures, as well as re-releasing their older ones, and today we're taking a look at another company who's kind of like an outlier in the figure world, and that's the Loyal Subjects, because today we're taking a look at one of their latest Ninja Turtle releases, and it's not one of the turtles, it's one of the baddies. Today we're taking a look at the Loyal Subjects best action figure line of Krang. This is not just any Krang, this is an XL figure of Krang. This is an extra large best action figure because look at this big guy, he is enormous. If you're not familiar with Best Action, it is the Loyal Subjects line of 5-inch figures. So they're not doing the 6-inch scale, they're not doing the 7-inch scale, they're definitely not doing the 12-inch scale. This is basically a 5-inch figure range that is more affordable than the 6 and 7 inches in a lot of ways. They have more freedom to include more accessories, and they also, most importantly, don't break the bank with their price. They tend to pack in a lot of value for a very good cost, and I feel like this XL figure is going to be a great example of that. Back in the day, Krang was one of the best figures. I don't mean like the little itty bitty Krang, I mean the big deluxe version of Krang. So this one is really cool to see here, and I like this packaging a lot. Obviously, we're not going to keep him in this box for very long, but you guys can see, great big window, lets you see everything this figure comes with, which is a lot of accessories that we're going to dive into in a few moments. But yeah, really great packaging, very simple. Nice illustrations of the Krang android body as well. And on the back of the box, it has a decent short few sentenced bio about who Krang is. Doesn't really mention the android body here that we're looking at, but at least it tells you who Krang is. It also highlights that it's got 31 points of articulation, which we're going to be testing in a few moments, and also runs down some of the accessories and some of the features that this figure has. It's boasting incredible sculpt details, and I have to say, from just my quick look at it, I would have to agree. Head to toe, this is a pretty sweet looking figure already, a lot of accessories. I'm hoping it's as good as it looks, because if it actually is, then wow, I guess I'm gonna have a whole new line of figures to start collecting. So that's enough about the packaging. Let's go ahead and break our Krang and his android body out of this plastic prison and get a closer look at him from all angles. And here is our extra large Krang out of the packaging. A quick pan up just to show you everything and show you how monstrous and enormous this figure truly is. This is a beast. I am pretty in awe of the size of this guy here, and I think I should probably just go ahead and get out a ruler to show you how big it is, but he's barely fitting on the screen right now. But here is my ruler, and you can see he's about 9 inches tall. He is a huge, huge guy. What a ginormous character. So much to talk about here. I'm not even sure where to begin, but I think we'll start with the actual android body itself here and the android head, and like, you know, this is like their version of the android head, and I don't know whose face this is meant to be based on, but I feel like it's got to be based on some actual person because it looks too good not to be. And also, I've always loved the like bizarre 80s glasses that he's always been wearing in this look. But man, this is really cool because it's not just the cartoon style, it's also a little bit more realistic. I mean, it definitely is in the vein of the cartoon, but they spent some extra time working on this face to really make it kind of stand out and look extra special. Do want to point out the little antenna that's on the top of his head there is a softer material, so just be careful when you're taking him out of the package because you could run into a few issues with him. But otherwise, I do want to point out too the silver paint all over him, very nice and shiny. I really like all the paint job on him actually. It's a very clean paint job too, I should add. I mean, there's really no staining, no slopping anywhere on this. In my time, my limited time with the Best Action Loyal Subjects, they've come a long way since the very first wave. And I don't really feel like paint is an issue with them these days. It's usually pretty clean, pretty solid paint jobs. So I don't really think any of that is something we need to worry about with these figures anymore. Show you the back of him as well. This thing just looks so cool, like from every angle, every single shot. There's something fun to look at with this toy here. See all different like sculpting texture on the back of his robot body there. These vents, he's got this little section over here, which we'll get to in a little bit. The fun thing about Krang is like he's almost like this giant pro wrestler. Like it kind of reminds you of Andre the Giant in some ways. And I wonder if that was actually the inspiration for the android body, considering how big and enormous this thing is. Like maybe it was meant to be Andre the Giant, because if it was, that would make a ton of sense. But cool stuff all around. So we'll zoom out one more time because there's a whole lot more to talk about here besides that. And let's talk about articulation a little bit, I think, also before we start moving on to some of their fun stuff. So this is supposed to have a whole lot of points of articulation. It's allegedly got nearly as many as like the normal sized figures. I don't know how true that's going to be, because I can tell you off the bat, you know, for example, this head, well, okay, shut me up. This head actually is ball jointed to a degree. It's not just, like I was just thinking it was going to be left and right, but no, it actually is ball jointed. Okay, Well, you guys got me there. Let's see about the shoulders. It looks like there might be a butterfly joint in there. Yeah, there actually is a butterfly joint in the shoulders too. You've got the bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, so you can get like, wow, okay. Not expecting that kind of articulation, but okay, you can. Double jointed elbows right there. The wrists can bend and rotate and flex, so good range of motion there. The waist doesn't move, but it does do something else I'll show you in a few more minutes. We have some decent flexibility in the legs. Not a ton, but there's some. And this is a kind of like harder rubber that's being used for the underoos, for the tights. So you can't get like great flexibility, but it's good enough. You can stand up as you saw the entire video so far with no problems. Do have a thigh swivel, double jointed knees as well, and good ankle mobility. So actually pretty impressive on the articulation front, and I was not expecting it to be that good. But what is Krang's android body without Krang himself? So let's bring Krang into the foray now. And here he is. He is a separate piece. This is also really great. Like, this is really good sculpting. I like this Krang so much. Looks really nice. Great detail. Beautiful paint job. He is hideous. You can just like feel the slime coming off this like slimy Utrom. I believe he's an Utrom. Look at all the great texture on the back of his head too. That is such cool, gross, awesome Ninja Turtle stuff. Also worth pointing out, the tentacles actually are ball jointed. You can actually rotate them and move them. There you go. So solid articulation too. Not like he needs it, but it's there if you want it. So yeah, the Krang is great. I love this little Krang, but the question now is how do we get him into that? So, well, it's actually quite easy. So here comes the fun part about this. First off, here's our Krang, just in comparison for size. I mean, you could see the size about him. So number one, you might notice that in Krang's body, hopefully you can see it, but if not, you're going to see it now. We've got Krang's arms already in there. Huh, that's curious. So therefore, that must mean, by all accounts, that this Krang's arms can come off. And I sure hope they do, because I'm about to find out. Here we go. Yep, Krang's arms come really out very easily here. So now what do we do with our android body? Well, we pretend that he's a Slim Jim and we snap into it. Oh yeah. So yeah, he actually will split in two like this. And all you gotta do now is, you see your Krang has a little space in the bottom, so just make him fit in there, push him on down if you need to. And there you go. Krang is inside his android body now. That was super easy and also a ton of fun to do. There he is. He's just hanging out right now. That looks perfect. That's perfect to me. Oh man. Like, it shouldn't be adorable as much as it is, but it's pretty cute also. So yeah, Krang fits inside, no issues, and he's ready to pilot because he's already got the tentacles in there. So we're going to leave him in there for the rest of the video because we still have a few more things to talk about. Because in addition to being able to put Krang inside, we still have a bunch of accessories to play with. And I mean a bunch, because we also have 2 closed fists that we can replace his current hands with. We have 2 of these laser hands we can also pop into his hands with, which have great paint. We have this axe. We have a giant screw. And last but not least, a giant sword attachment. So let's pop some hands and see how he looks. And we are gonna do both hands today, I've decided, because we got so many accessories. Why not? So the question is, what gets what? I'm gonna do whatever I feel like today with this video. And I think for this part, all right, yeah, let's put in the axe hand. That was really easy, by the way. And I think I want to put in a laser hand also. So you saw how easy those hands came out, and they're going in super easy as well. So that's it. That was no chore at all. Those went in really easily, really smoothly. And our Krang is now ready to kill some turtles, so awesome. So that's a ton of accessories. I was not expecting that many, but you know, this is an XL figure after all, so you're truly, truly getting your money's worth here. Whether you want your Krang to be having fisticuffs with his closed hands, or just shoot turtles, or drill them, or screw them, or stab them, that all sounded terrible, but you've got tons of options here. So how does our Krang size up with other figures? Well, let's keep in mind this is basically a 1/10 scale figure, I guess we can call it. So it's meant to scale up with 5-inch figures, and I've got a few here that are gonna fight our Krang and they're Avatar figures. And to be fair, hopefully they'll stand up for the entire video here, but to be fair, these guys are more or less in scale with the figures, and they're in the 5-inch range also. These are the Loyal Subjects Avatar The Last Airbender figures, and these two figures are from the 4-pack I just reviewed, the Elements 4-pack. I highly recommend you check them out. They're some of my favorite Avatar figures ever, really. That's a big compliment. I've looked at a lot of Avatar toys, but they absolutely nailed it with these figures. So here are these guys in 5 inches, and they look fine. I mean, keep in mind, this is not like super-sized Krang. This isn't like him at full ginormous robot size. This is just kind of meant to be him in like average walking around size. So that is accurate. But we can bring in someone that's probably closer to the actual turtle size here. And how about we bring in this Bandai Goku? This is from Bandai's Dragon Ball Super superhero figures. And you can see a little bit better about how he's going to look. And he's still in the more or less the 5-inch range, like 5 to 5.5 range, but still pretty close. And if you want to see how Krang compares to a much larger figure, how about a 6-inch or 6.5-inch Bret Hart Elite figure? So that's how our Krang is stacking up here. Now, would he fit in with a 6-inch turtle? Well, apparently Bret wants us to find out. So, excuse me, Hitman, I'll just drag your limp body away, and Goku can just zoom on out of here. So I do have a turtle here, but it is not a, again, as we mentioned, a Loyal Subjects turtle. What I do have is a Playmates turtle. This is Leonardo from their Ninja Elite line. It's him in his trench coat. Check out that review on this channel as well. But here's Leo. This is him. He's in the 6-inch scale, and not too bad, not too far off, I guess. Yeah, I'll take it. I mean, honestly, it's close enough. So if you have NECA figures also, this is fairly close, although NECA did do their own version of the android body as well. But this is not bad, all things considered. I'll take it as a suitable replacement. So that's enough of Leo. So let's give you guys, I guess, my final thoughts on this Krang here, because, man, this is a really impressive figure. And he really does live up to that Best Action moniker. It's, you know, a name and a toy label as well. And as much as I don't really like to see the Loyal Subjects, or really any company, use the words like Best Action for their figures, because that is very, very presumptuous, they're doing a great job. I have to admit that they're doing an excellent job with their figures. They're really giving us a lot of bang for their buck. And this is an extra large figure, keep in mind, so the price of him will be more than the typical Loyal Subjects Best Action figure out there. I am going to have links in the description for this video below, so you can check them out there. And if you buy anything using those links, it helps support this YouTube channel at no extra cost to you. But that said, that disclaimer out of the way there, you know, getting this figure, he works for a lot of different lines thanks to his size. Like, he is a pretty flexibly sized figure. I think NECA's is probably a little bit bigger, and it is a different style as well, but it's not too far off, so, you know, not the worst. It's solid though. This is really great. I think if anything, this probably has like better articulation than what NECA did. I mean, you've got more slimy Krang. There's just so many cool things you can do with this. Like, I like it a lot. And I'm not doing a direct side-by-side comparison this time around just because my Krang is currently in a box somewhere else. But, you know, this is solid. This is very solid. It's a very good alternative if you missed out on the Krang, because it's, I'm sure, you know, a comparable price, if not cheaper, because, you know, how NECA figures go once they're off the market. It's a lot you can do, and best of all, it's also a pretty playable toy. So if you have a kid who wants to play their turtles, but you don't want to give them your NECA figures because they're really expensive, this is a very excellent alternative, because it's still very, very playable, very flexible. And you guys saw what we can do with the arms. I mean, that's, to me, amazing. So this is the kind of figure that's great for an adult collector and a child. You really can't beat it. So I like this Loyal Subjects line so much. I'm going to be buying a lot more turtles in the near future. So, well, goodbye checking account. So that's my look at the Loyal Subjects Best Action Figure XL Edition of Krang and his android body. What an awesome toy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments as well, and let me know who you want to see me review next from the Ninja Turtles line, whether it be from Playmates, from NECA, or the Loyal Subjects. Until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today, and cowabunga. I gotta go make some turtle soup. See you guys later.